Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced a new Justice Department policy directing federal prosecutors to seek stricter sentences for drug crimes. He made the announcement while receiving an award from the Sergeants Benevolent Association of New York.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ed Mullins. I'm president of Sergeants Benevolent Association. Attorney General Sessions, it is a distinct privilege for us to be here with you today. The Sergeants Benevolent Association of New York City is one of the oldest and largest independent law enforcement labor organizations in the nation. Formed in 1899, the SBA currently represents 13,000 active and retired sergeants in the NYPD. We are the fifth largest collective bargaining unit of police officers in the United States. The brave men and women we represent are the frontline leaders of America's largest municipal police department. They are called on every day to make tough decisions on the street, in real time, and under circumstances few in this room, at City Hall, or in the general public can comprehend. SBA members, like police officers everywhere, treat their oath to uphold the law and to protect and serve as a sacred pledge for which they are prepared to lay down their lives. During National Police Week, we will honor those from our ranks who have made the ultimate sacrifice. As we honor these heroes and their families, police officers recommit to doing all we can do to ensure that our brothers and sisters will not end up as names inscribed on a wall of remembrance. This is also a time to give thanks for the colleagues, citizens, and public officials who have our backs when things get tough and dangerous. Today, we are here to honor one of these public servants, Attorney General Jeff Sessions. We live in a time when politicians and the top brass in police departments do not always have the courage to put the interest of innocent citizens and officer safety ahead of political correctness and calculated re-election ploys. This is why we are so grateful to have an Attorney General who rejects such cynical behavior. We saw this most recently when the Attorney General took a stand against mayors and police chiefs who are endangering their citizens and police officers by keeping local law enforcement and their federal partners from collaborating to remove dangerous criminals from our communities. To be clear, however, this is simply a continuation of a lifelong commitment Attorney General Sessions has made to putting public safety ahead of parochial politics, political correctness, and special interests. As a United States Senator, the Attorney General defied Silicon Valley billionaires and their army of lobbyists and public relation firms. He stepped into the breach when they tried to enhance their brands and bottom lines by pushing legislation that would have impaired law enforcement's ability to detect and apprehend online predators and child pornographers by giving social media apps and email accounts greater privacy protection than a family's home. When we saw a spate of mass shootings, then Senator Sessions didn't just give speeches. He championed changes to the law to ensure officers around the country could get the training and equipment necessary to respond to active shooter incidents. He also encouraged changes to the Public Safety Officers Benefit Program to expedite assistance for the families of officers killed in the line of duty. And throughout his tenure in the United States Senate, as Attorney General of Alabama and as the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Alabama, Jeff Sessions has worked hard to cultivate strong, collaborative relationships across the federal law enforcement community. Such collaboration is more than critical than ever as our country faces unprecedented threats from international terrorist organizations and transnational criminal gangs like MS-13. Attorney General Sessions, on behalf of all the men and women of the Sergeants Benevolent Association of New York City, it is my privilege to bestow on you an honorary membership in our union in recognition of your commitment to doing what is right for the safety of our communities and for having the backs of rank-and-file law enforcement officers in New York City and across this nation. Present to you this plaque, an honorary member of Sergeants Benevolent Association, the City of New York, and testimony whereof we have caused this certificate to be signed by the presiding officers on this date. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That is fabulous. I will cherish that, indeed. I want to thank all of you, your 13,000 members who walk the streets every day, who put their lives on the line, and the association that you have together. I respect that association and the work that you do to make your city better and safer. It's an honor for me indeed to be here, and I'm proud that the rank and file consider me a friend of the New York Police Department and all the other brave officers and law enforcement personnel around the country and in other departments. You know how much I respect you and the groundbreaking work the New York Police Department has done to reduce violence in your city. It is truly a national leading team. And I've long expressed my admiration for the successes you have achieved, Ed, you and your members. There's no doubt that the last few years have been tough ones for law enforcement in America. Morale among law enforcement officers has fallen. The fatal shootings of officers went up last year. Most Americans, however, know what I know. Our police are one of the institutions that enjoys the highest confidence of the American people. That's because they see you every day on their streets and in their neighborhoods, doing the duty that you've been given. You don't do this for recognition. You certainly don't do it for the money. You do it for lives saved and streets made safer, the bad guys brought to justice. You can choose this work. You choose this work to serve and protect us all and make our country safer and better. There is a sense of satisfaction indeed, I have always felt, from doing one's duty to see that justice is done. As we begin the National Police Week, I want to thank every law enforcement officer in America. Thank them for this. We honor your service. We remember the sacrifices of your brothers and sisters who have fallen in the line of duty, and we are grateful that you keep our communities safe. We here at the Department of Justice will continue to remind all Americans what a noble calling this is, so other good people will choose to answer the call just as each one of you did. I would also encourage all Americans to this week to find your own way to show your gratitude to the people of law enforcement. Bring a home-cooked meal to your local precinct. Go to a national memorial service, or simply shake the hand of a police officer and say, thank you for your service. Under President Trump, this Department of Justice will have your back. We will do all that we can to keep you safe and promote public support for honorable officers in your dangerous work. I call on everyone to remember that it's not our privileged communities that suffer the most from crime and violence. Regardless of wealth or race, every American has a right to demand to live in a safe neighborhood. And we will do our part. Today, I am announcing that I sent a memo to each of our United States attorneys last night establishing a charging and sentencing policy for this Department of Justice. Our responsibility is to fulfill our role in a way that accords with law, advances public safety, and promotes respect for and consistency in our legal system and in the work that we all do. Charging and sentencing recommendations are bedrock responsibilities of any prosecutor, and I trust our prosecutors in the field to make good judgments. They deserve to be unhandcuffed and not micromanaged from Washington. Rather, they must be permitted to apply the law to the facts of each investigation. Let's be clear, we are forcing the laws that Congress has passed. That is both our fundamental mission and our constitutional duty. Going forward, I have empowered our prosecutors to charge and pursue the most serious offense, as I believe the law requires, most serious, readily provable offense. It means that we're going to meet our responsibility to enforce the law with judgment and fairness. It is simply the right and moral thing to do. But it is important to note that unlike previous charging memoranda, I have given our prosecutors discretion to avoid sentences that would result in an injustice. This is a key part of President Trump's promise to keep America safe. We are seeing an increase in violent crime in our cities, particularly in Baltimore, Chicago, Memphis, and Milwaukee, St. Louis, and many others. The murder rate has surged 10% nationwide, the largest increase in murder since 1968. And we know that drugs and crime go hand in hand. They just do. The facts prove that's so. Drug trafficking is an inherently dangerous and violent business. If you want to collect a drug debt, you can't file a lawsuit in court. You collect it with the barrel of a gun. In 2015, more than 52,000 Americans died from a drug overdose. That's a stunning number. According to a report by the New England Journal of Medicine, the price of heroin is down, its purity is up, and its availability is up. We intend to reverse this trend. We are returning to the enforcement of the laws as passed by Congress, plain and simple. If you are a drug trafficker, we will not look the other way. We will not be willfully blind to your misconduct. We are talking about, for example, a kilogram of heroin. That's 10,000 doses of heroin on the streets. 5 kilograms of cocaine, 10,000 kilograms of marijuana. These are not low-level drug offenders we and the federal courts are focusing on. These are drug dealers, and you drug dealers are going to prison. Working with integrity and professionalism, attorneys who implement this policy will meet the high standards required of the Department of Justice, and together we will win this fight. Once again, I thank our brave men and women in uniform for your service, and thanks again to you, Ed, and the Sergeants Benevolent Association of New York for this great honor. Thank you.
Mr. Attorney General, do you believe that the FBI director has lost the confidence of the rank and file members of the Bureau?
What's your message? Why didn't you recuse yourself on the decision over Mr. Comey?
Can you comment on the firing of the FBI director?